First off, sorry about whatever that banging was. I just waited for it to stop. I don't know what the hell that was, but it started up as soon as I pressed that button. Anyway, I think it's over. Get that going. Get that going. All right. We got some work to do. Um, this shit. Whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing right now, that's what this is. So I did have audio problems starting up today. It did eventually solve itself. No other USB problems. This thing I pre-tested working fine. I really don't know what the hell the deal was yesterday, but man, that not work. Anyway, that is not the right one because there's no layers. I feel like I'm doing like a lot of revision based stuff these days. I don't know. I guess it works, but it feels like extra work. There it is. I couldn't remember their name. Okay. What? Are you fucking kidding me? All right, there we go. Finally. Okay. So I'm thinking, wait, why is this named BG? It should be sketch. What? And then this should be sketch rev 1. That's very strange. And I think we're going to try and get a line art in. Oops, sorry. Because I don't really feel like all these lines are super clean. They don't look too bad. But I think it'd be easier if I just do a line art. But we're going to do it. I don't know. You know what? Fuck it. Let's not. Let's just go with let's go with base. We're gonna do a line art, but like it's gonna be in the color we're gonna use, which means I should have I forgot to download this fucking picture. Okay, let me get it. Hold on. Why isn't it tracking me? Come on, I'm standing 2 feet away. I stand here all the time and it's usually working. Hold on. Go with likes. I like a lot of art, so this could be a problem. Wait, hold on. It might be easier if I search whatever this dude's name was. There we go. There it is. Okay. Now we open. That should be that. Right? That should be done. There it is. So now I should be able to steal some colors. Problem solved, I think. Okay. Let's do palette down. I don't know. I feel like that's a little easier. I know I kind of end up leaving it behind anyway, but it's also kind of funny. Okay. You know what? Hold on. So let's do palette down. Man, there's like no space here. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, wrong way. Skin, coat, eyes, hair. I'm gonna just call that access for accessories. Hopefully I can read this later, probably not. Okay. So we're on skin. And zoom in. What are we working with here? So that's probably the main layer right there. Okay. Wait, that's the same color. Okay. All right, that should probably be enough. Next up we got coat. Guess I might have done these a little too close, huh? Shouldn't really matter too much. What is this blue shadow here? What's going on? It's weird. Don't think I ended up getting any buttons in the shot. No. So we'll probably mostly work with those. I'm going to count the backpack straps as part of this. And then maybe her tie. Or is that's an accessory, huh? Let's do that. Count her little shirt thing, though. There we go. Okay. On accessories. That's gray, really. That's interesting. That kind of looks like a white. Or like a yellow. Okay, so we got that. There we go. Got that. That. I don't like these colors. I'm probably going to end up picking my own. Whether or not we do a lot of these flower bits as well. Ooh. That's like plain old white, isn't it? Hold on. Okay. I didn't realize there were this many accessories. Thought it would just be gold and white, to be honest. Or green. So many shades of green. Okay. We're just gonna have to wing it. There's a lot going on here. Okay. I don't know that we're gonna bring a little ladybug buddy. It's the thing is the reference is just like flat on top of there. You know? That kind of makes it hard to deal with. We can always do it later though. So what's my last thing? Oh, I have hair and eyes still. Herm. There we go. All right. What's that? Okay, let's work on some hair action. Okay. Okay. I was gonna say, wasn't there like one really dark spot? Okay. All right. Let's get to the base for now. We're going to, I guess, start with the hair. I mean, I don't see why not, really. It's actually, I guess, start with, I'm thinking actually the skin. Right? Because then, oh, it's gonna fucking blend so weirdly. All right, we're gonna try it and we're gonna see what happens. That said, let's go ahead and clear the palette so that it's a little easier to remember where we're at. Okay, so we got this going. Let's turn that to about a 4. The reason I think I'm gonna work with the skin here is because this is probably going to be a little easier because there's a lot of lines to follow. So the goal is just going to be to try and get some nice lines. All right, we're just going to trace for now right around the edges. We're basically doing line art, but instead of black line art and thickening it and ensuring that it's clear, we're just going to effectively skip that, and we're going to turn our line art into the edge of our probably fill effectively. And what this is going to hopefully do is hopefully it's going to save us some time, because instead of going around the whole thing with a dark, or probably just black, and getting good lines and hopefully connecting them all, we're just going to get this, hopefully, in the color we already need. And then we can leave, like, such details for later. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I don't know why, but I'm like really squeezing the pen, and I don't like that. I can probably just hit this one like right now, huh? Like I don't even need the thing for this. I can just send it on this. This is probably gonna ultimately be darker than this, but like to get the point across for now, I think this should do. I feel like this is darker already than the original, and that's a little weird. Um, what I may end up doing is 50% opacitying this layer to make the shading easier. I don't know. Maybe lighten it. Maybe it just looks really dark because I'm connecting it to black right now, and it's, I would have thought it'd be the other way around, but you know, it's just giving off that vibe. I've talked about this a couple times now, but I've started seeing a lot of people starting art, which is super cool. Um, and it's that weird phenomenon when you start something, it feels like you you started the trend because like you swear to God you didn't see any of this before. Not that people didn't learn art, but it's like learning on stream, I feel like has suddenly become a thing. I'm seeing like much larger creators like learning. A lot of them actually already could. That's how quite a few of them like got a head start. To not to say like got a head start, I guess, but like they created their own models. So like or like their own art, so they didn't, you know, have to drop $500 to several $1,000 on like their model art or their model, and they did it themselves, which is obviously the smart way to do things and may or may not be the direction we were hoping to go. But I'm really starting to see like people learning because those people already knew how to draw, you know what I mean? And that was like I said, the direction I was hoping to go so that I could learn. And I'm starting to see a lot of it. And I swear to God, they're all better than me. Uh, why is it so fucking dark? What am I doing? Trust the process. Trust the process. Fucking hate this process, bro. Fucking hate this shit. Um, you know, feel like it would probably look a little better if I did the mouth and nose now. But I was gonna wait for like a mouth nose layer because that just kind of tends to work out better. You know, they have their own shading and whatnot. I don't know. We'll think about it. We got time. But anyway, I'm seeing like a lot of them starting, and they're like I said, they're all really good to the point that I think they might be lying. Not necessarily that they aren't relative beginners, but I think they might be doing. Here's what I'll say: they're doing what I've been trying to do with piano, where I'm not really getting anywhere, so it doesn't sound good, and I don't feel like just watching YouTube videos and like slowly putting my fingers places on stream. Plus, I have to change the fucking camera angle every 2 minutes between this and that. You know what I mean? So this is facing here. If I were to do piano, I would have to like point it over here. And so it's kind of just turned into me either not learning it or learning it off stream, and that defeated the whole purpose. But I think I'm going to guess a lot of them started before they said they started because, like, some of the concepts are way more advanced. And to be fair, that's how, sort of how I started, right? I say I started in January because that's really when we started. I was kind of doodling, I was sketching, if you will, before then and doing some time lapses of it to like warm up so I wasn't like absolute dog shit and I was watching videos. But they're like where I was 2 months ago in some respects and further. What I will say is they're better at following instructions. That's what I seem to see. So like they'll do the instructions fairly well. But like what I wanted to touch on was they have the same like thing that I think is a mistake, and that's constantly seeing complaining about, oh, it took me 5 hours for this. And here I'm like, something like this is going to probably take me like upwards of 9 hours. And, you know, stuff like this, you'll see tweeted right after like a model reveal, sorry. You know what I mean? Like the whatchamacallits will just be ready and going. And I know some of them are like partnered with the streamer. It's like commissioned art that they want released like the day of type of deal. I know that that happens as well. But some of them are just like done before the stream ends, you know, within 2 hours. And it's like, obviously, it's already better than what I have, but it's like it's better than anything I can do in 9 hours. But it's like this. It's like our Freem quality or the Saraway or the rice shower quality, right? Those took me hours upon hours, and they'll have something that better quality than that, really. But like that detailed, that fine, they'll have something like that within like a stream. You know what I mean? Like the person will go live debuting their new model, and the fan art will be done before they're done being live, and the stream was only like 2 hours. That's what I'm saying. And like what I'm seeing is people drawing like a little chibi, which is even smaller and less than this. But you know, it's a little easier to like make it kind of look good because it doesn't actually technically have to have good proportions. It doesn't have to, you know, necessarily follow certain rules. Not that they don't or can't look cute or good, but they're kind of like a little easier to get away with making mistakes on. And they'll do stuff like that, and they'll be like, "Oh, it took me 5 hours or 7 hours to do this." And I think a big thing is I've touched on this before. I'm very confident that there's like pre-made things, like pre-made assets that a lot of creators will use for fan art so that they can be like the first to get a tag so that they can get a like and a retweet or whatever and a comment from their favorite or you know from whoever's large. And you know, it's like they have a hand pre-done and they have a, you know, they have like a packet basically. They'll maybe have like layers. They'll be like hand ABC, I'm guessing hand CDE or what, I don't fucking know. Right? And they'll be like labeled left, right, and it'll be like pose 1 2 3, and they just drag and drop, and then they like maybe have a base color, and they'll like just color filter it in. So I'm pretty sure that that's how they do it. That's how they get those ones out. I'd say either that or AI, but they've been doing this since before like AI was capable of doing something so complex. So I don't think it's that. Not that it can't be that now, I guess, but I'm pretty sure what it is they have like templates just ready to go. And it's like, oh, here's my new model. And guess what? It's part of a recent trend of, uh, you know what? A couple weeks ago, it was, I guess, Gold Week in Japan and China, which I guess people get off. And it's like some sort of test taking thing. Well, a bunch of creators were asking for gold bikini fan art, right? Well, if they're all asking for the same thing, all you got to do is generally change the skin color, and here you go, right? And you maybe change the pose a little. And when you're a much better artist than I, you can just like use the liquefy tool, and you can like change a couple of lines, and you can probably get a lot of work done. So if you just have like some base stuff ready to go, it probably is just, I don't want to say that easy, but it's probably that simple, you know? So to me, I feel like I do this a lot where I'm like, I'm not where I want to be because I'm not, but it's the same thing they're doing. But I feel like as I've gotten a little better, I've kind of started to learn that obviously I'm, you know, not some super talented artist. I'm just kind of fucking stumbling my way through beginnership. But you gotta like look at it and realize first off, these people have probably been doing it for years if they're not using AI, which I don't think most of them are. Not saying that there aren't people who don't, but I'm saying I think that there's plenty of reason to suspect they're legit. But like it's not so surprising when you start to learn what can go into stuff and realize like you can manipulate layers if you like I was gonna say prepare. Prepare for, an upcoming release, which is usually like in the next, somebody will announce, it'll be like, oh, 3 weeks from now, I don't even think it's usually like next week, I'm revealing my new model. Well, they're gonna come, so you get their color palette ready. Maybe you have like a posed up model and you just got to change a couple of things. You just do that, right? And you can just like make the asset if you don't already have something similar enough, right? It kind of does turn out to be much simpler than you realize once you have like a ton of things ready and you like set up a workflow. It's almost like, honestly, it's almost like work. I mean, it is probably work for them, but you know what I mean? Like you set up all of these like programs, maybe like you have to type phrases a lot, so you have a macro for that or whatever. It's I think it's really that simple for them. So that's why it seems like, oh, somebody debuts within like the debut stream, they're already getting tweeted fan art that's insanely good. Not to mention, there are people really insanely good and they'll hit up like a quick sketch midstream. So while they're streaming, they're like sketching. A lot of times the reference sheet will be out, so they'll be sketching with that and like watching the stream. And they'll have like a base sketch down. I mean, look at how, I don't want to say good my sketch was, but legible my sketch was. You could tell it was some sort of winged girl creature. Could you tell it was this person? Probably not. But if I had more skill, I could have done that. I think I'm yapping too much. I have to clear my throat a lot. I keep feeling like I do anyway. Anyway, like if you have real skill, like a lot of practice, and you sketch while they're talking, and then like you have the base sketch down and you're good, and you can just like kind of put some swaths of colors and do some basic shading. Well, if you're really good, all of those like basics combined, done well, look fantastic. And so you just tweet that out, and it seems like you tweeted it out like maybe an hour after release, if you will, and it kind of seems like, holy shit, they did that within an hour. Like that's crazy. Um, but the reality is, they probably worked on it during the 2 hour stream. They got like a really clean sketch, maybe got like the color palette down, and then when the stream ended, then they did like the details and like the personalizing work. And right, it seems like 2 hours, but it was probably four. Um, and it's probably not their best work, but it's better than anything I can do, and it's still good work because they're still good. So it looks great, and you're like, well, holy shit, it takes me 5 hours to do something like that, and they tweeted that before they were, fully, before the first day of the reveal was over. Like, oh my god. But they're purposefully doing things. Right? You gotta like understand that their timeline and their I guess whatchamacallit are different. I'm gonna probably just use like a shade layer to get the tits going. I will say I'm gonna try and redo the color because I am not liking the way this is looking here. Um, dude, what is happening? That's just gonna have to do, I think. 'Cause I am not going anywhere with that. Okay. I mean, to be honest, once you get the eyes and like the mouth in on like a color, like a base color layer, even without shading, at a glance, something can look pretty decent. Like it can look very readable and like enjoyable. And then like once you add maybe like some very basic shading details, right? Like what I'll call anime level and not like illustration level. So like it's a legible picture. It put in some effort. It's not bad or anything. It just, isn't the degree of like some of the best that some people have to offer. But it's still really good, right? There's a huge difference between, right, basic sketch, bad sketch. There's like bad sketch. There's basic sketch. There's like good sketch. Then there's like good line art, right, and all the stuff that led up to that between then and like good sketch. There's like color, like a basic color layer, right, very basic. There's a lot of things you can do to make something like go from basic to like fantastic. There's a lot you can do to make a good sketch turn into like a very good looking thing with just a little bit of color and some basic shading. I think it's very unfair to look at like your own work, especially as someone new, and be like, "Hey, this took me 5 hours and it's ass." Um, or it took me 5 hours and it's decent, but like how the hell are other people doing it faster? Like they have a workflow, they have a system, they know what they're doing. They're not second guessing every line. They probably have pre-made assets for some of this stuff, right? They have, if they're into it, brushes, which I feel like I want to get into brushes, but I kind of just actually think I like just using the pencil and maybe like a paintbrush or two. I don't know. Am I crazy? I feel like it's almost more satisfying to like do finer lines and then like brush swaths. It just feels better. I don't know. But anyway, I don't think as much as I talk about it myself, like, oh, it fucking took me 9 hours for a shit post. That is in part me understanding that it took me 9 hours for a shit post. And if I were better, first off, it wouldn't take me 9 hours to make a shit post. It would also be better, you know? By the way, if anyone was wondering, none of our shit posts, memes, or like high effort art, if you will, has gotten any engagement or any likes whatsoever, which is a little frustrating, but like to be expected. You know what I mean? Like we knew it was gonna happen. There was really no reason to believe it wouldn't be this way. This is very weird looking. Okay. Hmm. I'm gonna have to get rid of this back here, I think. Hold on. I don't know, maybe the people I'm seeing talking about it are kind of like me, and like in effect, it's kind of like making fun of myself for not being more skilled. Like I genuinely feel like I could maybe do something, but at the same time, I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. All right, let's see if this is the right color. So this is the coat, right? So let's take that. God, that's just a gray. It's so weird. Okay, there's a couple different pieces in here. All right, let's hit the coat up because I feel like it's gonna be relatively small. That is that not just the same color as her neck? Am I crazy? Hold on. It is. No, it's not. It's a little lighter. What? I'm a little worried if I do some sort of fill tool, it's gonna catch it all in here. Maybe I should do the rest of the coat first. Is she entirely the same gray? Is that her shtick? Okay. That was almost decent. Somebody should have said something. There's no one to say anything. I should have realized sooner. We're on the wrong layer. God, that looks so weird. Ba 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 bum bum. Ba da ba bum 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 bum. Ba da 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 dum. Could maybe blend this. Might be an interesting strategy, if you will. You know, I should be doing the like less intricate ones first. Like this is kind of, I don't want to say intricate, but it's like got a lot of separate facing lines. Whereas if I did the coat, there's just like a couple of lines for now that we'd have to get, and you know, I think it would have had a bigger impact on how we feel about the direction of it. It's fascinating how this almost looks white compared to its surroundings, I guess because of the shading, right? Because of the darker bits, which we probably won't have today, to be honest with you. We're probably not even gonna, if I had to guess, I don't even know if we're gonna have full color. We're definitely not getting like eyes and mouth, by the way. I feel like it's just the smartest play to wait till the last minute to do those and to like draw them over like we have been. I don't know. I feel like that kind of just is the best. Best, most smartest way to do things. Okay. So that should be that. Yep. God, that's so weird. I feel like if I wasn't using like guidance here, I would just straight up make this like a cream color. I don't I I don't really understand why it is gray. Um, cuz it's like the same color as her skin, right? And I get that like her skin and like her hair are supposed to be relatively the same color and it's actually just supposed to be like a difference of the shadows. At least I think that's what they went for because they're a gargoyle and they're actually just entirely made of stone, right? So I get that that's the goal, but then the trench coat is tan, and that's fine. But then, like, this random fur thing that I still don't quite understand is gray? Same color as their skin? What's the deal? I don't know. Like, is the trench coat painted brown and actually just part of them? And they didn't paint the fur part? I still don't understand. I feel like I love the design, but I am so baffled by like the bomber jacket trench coat combo. It's so weird. Maybe I'm just upsetty spaghetti because I find it really hard to draw and therefore I'm upset about it. Because I guess I didn't really notice how little sense that thing makes until I tried to draw it. Okay. I think I'm gonna go for a little trench coat action. We'll deal with like shadows and like whatnot later. I'm not gonna concern myself with it at the moment. I feel like that makes the most sense. I think we're approaching time where I take a second and I find something to yap about while standing away because I feel like I'm really gripping it right now, you know? Seems too dark, doesn't it? Am I crazy? Ooh, okay. Do 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 do. Okay. You know, I'm looking, or I was looking at those little, what do I call them? I guess tufts of fur? And I feel like they're getting, because they're kind of like, I drew them like a little hair bits. I feel like I'm getting kind of okay at them. Like, I'm liking it. I'm liking how it came out a little better. I'm also kind of liking how the braid came out. I know it's not the exact original, but I think for like my low ass skill level, if I add some proper shading, I think that can come out decent. And we're gonna, oh shit, we're gonna attribute that. I don't want to say success, I suppose, but like the relative legibility of that can be attributed, in my opinion, to probably knives and like both of those knives and the lanyards on them. Like the idea to basically draw that. I know people go for the whole ribbon thing. I feel like I'm still not getting the ribbon thing very well. Like my best piece of hair that I feel like I've drawn so far is this right here. But like I can still mess it up. But anyway, I just don't really feel like that's a ribbon to me. I don't know. I get that that seems to work for just about everyone. I think the problem is I just don't feel like I'm familiar with ribbons. Is that it? I think that's maybe it for me. Like I don't grasp ribbon because I don't have ribbons, right? Like I have hair. My hair is not really like this, quite frankly. It's super wavy, borderline curly, right? Um like maybe I got like that top thing depending on how I want to do it where it like kind of goes up and over, but it's not like that extreme or anything. And that's probably why I can do that relatively well. But like the like random tufts and whatnot, I don't know. I feel like I can do the tufts all right because of the knife thing and it doesn't seem that foreign. But like when it's kind of more flowy, like the one I just said is probably my best hair, and that's where people are like, "Oh, it turns into a ribbon." I I just I don't know. It's not working for me mentally because that's not a shape I really know. That's not a knife shape really. They don't like fold in over each other typically. Um, the whole ribbon thing doesn't add up for me because I don't get ribbons. Like I don't wear a ribbon. I didn't grow up wearing ribbons. Fuck, I don't even think like if I was ever given a gift, it typically didn't have like a ribbon on it, you know? Like, I think the last ribbon I have or had, I, would take and use as a cat toy. Um, so I need to find like the knife equivalent of that for that type. I mean, I do, like I said, I feel like it's my like best hair. I did it justice in that one particular spot. What is happening? Okay. So I'm not like mad at it. I can apparently do it. I just need to figure out a way to do it consistently. Like I need, like I was saying, like that crossover. Like let's take the braid for example. The braid isn't particularly good. If I'm being honest, I'm not the biggest fan of how I did it. But I did get something that's legible as a braid, I feel like, or at least so far. And I did that because of my experience drawing knife lanyards. I need to find something like that for the other hairstyles, right? Like something that, I mean, I guess I can buy a bunch of fucking ribbons, but like something that gives me that vibe that I can draw. I mean, I have this. It's like a leather cable tie. Leather kind of can fold in on itself. Hold on, I have like a piece over here. The thing is, I generally don't really have this in strands. It's more like this, where it's like a big patch. And like this will probably turn into maybe a... Actually, I was thinking about... Hold on. So I have this is like a leather thing that you put on. This is Kydex, so this is leather that you then fold over and like you can flip it around your belt. I was thinking about wrapping that around this, but that's still, first off, this probably isn't thick enough leather to do that, so I probably won't do it with this. But that's still right. So basically the way this is like that, I was thinking of like covering almost the whole thing with it into these holes so that I could have like a thicker belt loop. And so sometimes when I pull this one, it like kind of goes like that. So if I had it like the whole length of the thing. Anyway, I don't know. I don't really generally have it in these types of strands for very long. And if I do, it's thicker because I need it to last. So I don't have something that I regularly use that has like that form that I can draw. I'm like looking around shoelaces maybe, but like I don't really have a lot of flat. Why did my camera just? I'm just standing here. I don't really have. I mean, maybe Converse. I have some Converse, but like they're not gonna look like that. I'm just trying to look for something that's gonna give me that vibe that I want, that I can draw, that I have, that you know what I mean. I can practice on regularly. I don't feel like I have anything. I don't know, man. Fucking crumbs of leather everywhere now. Fuck. Okay. Do do do. Like, am I crazy? This, to me, this looks pretty solid. Did I draw it a little non-confidently? Yeah. Like, I could have drawn it a little better. But, like, the concept behind how I did this is not too bad. And the shading is hopefully going to resolve the lack of skill and confidence here. Hopefully. Also, this is why I chose not to start with the hair. If you were wondering, it's because I don't really feel like I wasn't necessarily 100% sold on this so far. I didn't feel like I did it that well, but like looking at it, I did it well enough that I think it comes across. Um, God, this is a fucking mess here, isn't it? Okay. I don't know, we kind of just made that up and I don't know if I like it, but it is what it is, you know? Not too bad, right? That was kind of a decent little line. A little wobbly at the start, especially, but I feel like we kind of did all right there. Huh? What happens if I hit this? Does that do anything for me? Nah, it's easier if I just go over it with the fucking thing. Am I stupid? Because then we're not like getting a couple of pixels that aren't connected left behind. Ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-bum. Do 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 do. You know, I guess maybe a watch band. Now these are. I feel like the thing is, it's usually just a circle. You know what I mean? Like it just loops around on itself. I don't know. Still thinking of the hair thing. Let's get off the hair thing. I've been drawing something off stream. I think I've talked about it. I don't know that it's gonna make its way to like Twitterverse or whatever. I also don't really know how to get the time lapse off of my tablet. Um, anyway, I've been drawing something off stream, and I feel like I just keep tracing, not really tracing, but like redoing the sketch. Like I really want it to be better, and I like keep making the sketch slightly better, but like not better enough that like I'm just not satisfied with it, and I don't know where to go with it. You know, like I feel like the longer I've been working on it, the worse certain things look proportion wise. Like that I started out okay with it. And now that I'm like refining the lines, I'm like, this actually doesn't look that good. But like, I have nowhere to go with it. And like the face, for example, I feel like doesn't look quite the way I want. And I don't know, I feel like I should just start it over. So what I do is I sketch it again and then like try and change what I didn't like and then something else changes, you know? Like something else no longer works. So I don't like that and now I got to do it again. And so now I'm on like my third revision and I'm like, am I just avoiding doing it? Is that actually what's happening here? Like, should I just commit? Starting to wonder if this is what's giving me neck pain, like leaning down like this. Because I'm like looking straight down almost, and I'm trying to avoid getting in the way of the camera. And like, I don't know, I feel like I'm like shrimping up here. Okay. I was hoping the leaves and the lemon thing would help me with like some of these curves, but I just didn't do that picture justice. That was a really cool picture, by the way. I really liked that. But the drawing didn't come out well. Okay. Where did my fucking thing just go? Feel like the face is a little crooked, but hey, what can I do about that? You know, I just work here. Mhm. I wonder if there's a way for me to like make this as the original and then just like trade out reds for the grays. Like without having to physically draw it in. I wonder if that's something I can do. I feel like I've seen people do something like that with like some sort of gradient tool, but that was Clip Studio Paint. This is Krita. I don't know if that's an option for me. Okay. All right. Zoom out a bit. I don't feel like I did the arms right looking at them. They feel too wide. You know, technically, I think I can just do this, right? If I just do that, that should count. Am I a fucking genius or what? I feel like I'm losing some of what I was doing here. Did I get the shoulders on this side? I feel like no. Am I crazy? Uh-oh. Oh, that's right. I didn't do that. Okay, that should cover that. There we go. Third time's a charm, apparently. Actually, I think that was 4, wasn't it? Feel like I need to maybe make this shoulder a little higher and this one a little lower because like the angle. I guess let's just see how it sort of looks. I can maybe come up and like fake it through here if I have to. Brr. I'm gonna regret this, but it's maybe just like just a smidge here. Just to like trick you into thinking that that's like some shoulder peeking through, I think. And I think maybe we'll have to shrink this, but we'll see. Just realized I never did that. Okay. Okay. So that should just be doable, yeah. Why's my seat shaking? I don't like that. Hopefully I'm not about to fucking die. This is one of those moments where I know I'm not that happy with the results, to be honest. I feel like I want to do better. But it's like this, it's those things. All right, first off, here's where I was going with that. It's one of those moments where I just kind of want to keep drawing for hours, and I end up looking at the clock. I'm like, oh, I probably only have 30 to 40 more minutes before I have to go do shit. But um, you know, I feel like I'm at that stage where, you know, what's happening with that in private project, shall we call it, is going to happen with this. I'm just going to keep doing revisions until I get something I like, and then that's going to move me on to the next thing that needs to be revised, right? And eventually it's not going to be the same picture, and it's still probably not going to work because nothing's going to be that cohesive, since every step of the way what I did was try to make it work instead of just like try to make it work with what was there instead of like actually doing it properly as needed, you know? I feel like there's just more for me to learn, more for me to do if I just get close to what I feel is good and like send it from there and try to improve that as best I can in a lot of different ways. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like I'm just yapping. I don't know. It makes sense in my head. Like what I'm saying is at a certain point I have to acknowledge that I don't have the skill to make this look like the professionals, you know? Like it's just never going to look as good as theirs no matter how many revisions. And so I just have to fuck. I have to fuck. Okay? I need it. I need to fuck. Um I have to acknowledge that, accept that, and move on from like the hangups of, oh, this is really bad. I need to fix it. Will that make that individual picture hopefully look better? Sure. But like I said with that other thing, I think I'm like 2 hours in of work time and I'm on the sorry. I was going to say second. Last night was the third sketch revision and I've like changed the pose a little bit and I'm like no closer to being done. And is there a level of like professionalism in that? Maybe, sure. And that works because I'm not, you know, I feel like the stream puts me under I don't want to say like a ton of pressure or anything, but like there is a little bit of pressure to get an image done, within like a couple of streams. Whereas for that, nobody knows I'm really working on that, right? The feeling of it doesn't really matter that much. It will be, what am I doing? This doesn't even need to happen. Um it will be what it will be when it gets there because I'm just working on it and doing my best. And I want to try and present my best with that. And I don't, nobody's watching, so it doesn't need to be done, within a week, right? So that works, but this, right? I need this to probably be done within a week. I don't want to be working on this 2 weeks from now, you know, and being like, I've put 40 hours into it, and okay, it's probably gonna be my best looking thing yet, but at what cost? I feel like there's a difference between wasting your time and refining your skills, and that would be a waste of time, right? I feel like I have more to learn by moving on to a different image that I can maybe do better from the jump instead of, okay, I didn't do that great here, here, here. Okay, I'll revise that, and all of these still don't look good. Okay, I'll revise that, and then I'll just keep going. Whereas I should have called it at that last one, but instead I'm like, well, I'll revise that, I'll revise that, I'll revise that, I'll revise that. And obviously, like, look at the shoulder. I'm not like ignoring things that I think are problems, right? I'm changing things that I think are what I'll call more glaring and obvious issues. But, you know, stuff that's like, I feel like doesn't make it any hugely different, I'm just going to leave and hopefully do better the next time I go to draw one, instead of being like, damn, all of this is ass. Let's just scrap it and start over. I feel like there's more to learn from continuing and trying to make something work and then like just getting through it and moving on to something else to learn from something else instead of like being lost in the sauce effectively. Like, could the face shape have been wider to match the original? Sure, but it doesn't need to be. You know, we can just work with this style and try and make this work because plenty of people draw in different styles, so it doesn't, right? It doesn't need to be perfectly replicated a version of the original. It just needs to be reasonably good that I can work towards making better so that I can learn the lesson and apply it next time better. All right. Okay. Um, got the neck accessories. We've got the hair, the wings. Obviously, the eyes, mouth, and nose, but I'll probably do those on a separate layer. Those two horns, the ears. Oh, that's right, the ears. Ooh, I should have done that sooner. Let's grab the skin color, which is apparently also the fucking whatchamacallit color. Anyway, Okay. Righteous. Okay, we'll do like the inner ear shit, I guess, later. I could have swore I like drew in the bottom part, but I guess not. I just had to double check that I'm off base and didn't just draw over it. Um, do we do another rice shower after this? I kind of want to draw. Hold on, I still have it up. I kind of want to draw it, but I don't know. I feel like it's a really hard angle, and I don't know what I'm looking at here. I also really want to draw a Stola, but I can't find a good picture. Like, I want this picture, but like clearer, but she looks kind of weird in that one. Um, I don't know. I guess, do we switch back to the dino thing, or do we keep with what's her face here? Can't even see her face, actually. It's over there. Think I might switch back to dino. Like, the meme's over. I don't know that I'm even gonna bother doing a video on it, because it's a lot of work to find all of the clips leading up to it and edit, and I don't know how to edit right. I don't have like files for like music. It's kind of sad because I want to do it, but like I guess I should have sped up my timeline more, because I only got like 2 more weeks of like being able to really work on things. Not even really, but you know, I don't see how I'm gonna work on it when I'm having to travel 2 hours or more, actually, usually per day for work. It's just not gonna happen. Because with that comes the prep time of traveling. And then I'm gonna like, I'm either gonna not have time before, obviously, or, after I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna just want to stream game and then get ready for the next day and go to bed. We're not gonna have time to edit stuff, especially if we want to work on other art off stream, because we're not gonna be able to do morning streams anymore. So like, I'm only gonna have nighttime stuff. Bro, she look kind of fucked up, don't she? I feel like this ear's too big. Okay. Feel like ears too big and maybe head's too small. I mean, I guess we kind of already knew that. I guess we'll do the horns her skin color, because that's kind of how they seem to be. Okay. It looks so stupid. Okay. All right, all right. I don't even know what fucking gray this is. Like, what is happening, bro? I'm probably gonna have to come back through because she actually does have really decent cell shading here. Probably gonna have to come back through for a line art anyway, but like a detail line art, I think. And I think that's gonna be different than what we would have needed to do for this to be like a fill line art. And it's also gonna be more of an overlay, whereas if I had line arted otherwise, it would have been an underlay. I don't know how to explain it, but hopefully it works. We'll figure it out. I really like cell shading. I feel like it's cool. I got to get better at like actually utilizing it. There's a knife company called Heretic that started doing cell shading a little while ago, and I kind of want one. But the ones that I would get sell out very quickly, and they're also very expensive. So it's like they show up. If it's not already sold out, I look at it and I'm like, I don't really want to spend generally like $400. I think they have some fixed blades that are like a little less, but I'm like, I don't really want to spend $400 on a manual knife. I get that it's made in the US and it's got a pretty unique paint job that's going to be destroyed the first time you use it. But okay, good. Like I like it, but it's a really hard sell, especially, in this economy, and I'm trying to avoid, right? I just talked about this last night on the Windrow stream. I hesitate on deals because nothing really sells anyway. But I did see like a different knife, a Randall knife, for like a really good price. Those if for anyone who doesn't know, those generally go for like more even at retail if they're even in stock at like somebody who's an authorized dealer, which they probably aren't. They tend to go for more than if you just bought it straight from Randall themselves, because Randall themselves has like a 7-year wait list at this point, right? Um, and there's still hundreds of dollars. Like I think like the starting point is like 400 something, and a 7-year wait thing, right? Uh, and I saw one for less, right? And obviously it was no wait, and I was like, oh, should I get it? Like I could probably easily resell this for $700. It sold out like while I was thinking about it. And I'm like, like, am I? How do I? Obviously, somebody would have bought it, but like, how do I know? Like I can't keep trying to make some sort of shit business happen when business ain't businessing. Okay, let's look at this hair. Time to find out that the hair is the exact same color and we didn't realize, right? Okay, well, the hair is actually a little darker. Okay. Wait, is it darker? Hold on. Is that the same color? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Do we think cutting these corners is going to bite me in the ass? Yes or no? I feel like yes. We'll see. But I'm not sure I can figure out how it won't, you know? You know, I'm a real ass biter myself. You know I'm something of an ass biter myself, Spider-Man. I mean, Peter Parker. You know what? This is a small enough line that I might as well just ensure. Okay. Just trying to make sure. We're relatively good on most of this. Okay. Actually, not sure I technically even need to do some of these lines. In fact, I think we might actually technically be done with this side. So let's go over here and start working. Man, I'm worried this is gonna... So I don't want to say I'm cutting corners here, but it feels like I'm cutting corners. Also, I feel like I'm like tilting my tablet here, which is weird. I don't want to say it's messing up my lines because my lines aren't very good to begin with, but it does kind of feel like it's messing up my lines. I don't know how to put it. Like, it sounds like I'm bitching, but like the truth is my lines wouldn't be that good anyway, so like what am I complaining about? I'm so hopeful that this works, by the way. This would actually be like tremendously time saving if it does. Damn, what the fuck is this? All right, I'm gonna start a petition. These... No, I think it just crashed. I haven't saved it all today. Why did it crash, dude? This isn't even close. This isn't even close to like a complicated thing that we've done. Can't even relaunch it. I have a hotkey on the other stream deck. How bad is this? Oh my god. Okay. Please. Please. Oh, that's so fucking bad, isn't it? All right. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, this is an autosave right now. I'm just gonna save this. Let me check something. Oh, fuck. Please. We just lost like 40? No, 30 minutes of shit, I think. Hold on. I think it's in videos. No, is it in here? It is. It is. Um, gotta be this, right? Okay. Open those photos for now. Huh? Now the problem is this will fuck up the time lapse. I can't use this. So what I was gonna do is every time I draw a line, it auto saves the entire image for the time lapse, which is why it takes up so much space. Terrible way to do it, by the way. Um, and I was gonna take the last one because that would basically have been like right around here, but yeah, I have to do the entire head over. Oh my god. If I do that, it's not going to count as the same image, I don't think. And so I don't think I'll be able to make a time lapse with it because they'll be like it'll the way it is it's in its own like folder. So what'll happen is I'll open it and then I won't have any of the layers. It's just a PNG. I can't do it. Um, I'm gonna stop for the day. I don't want to fucking. It's tainted. We're not gonna do our best work now. I was only gonna be on for like another 15 minutes anyway. Let's just get off. Let's come back tomorrow. Finish the. I actually thought I was about to finish the hair today. Like we were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Probably like 7 to 10 lines away. Because I think I still had to do these, but again, let's not do that to ourselves. Thanks for being here. Sorry, we fucked up. I'm gonna guess it was actually, interestingly enough, it was probably the time lapse that fucked us. That's my guess. It probably went to save it, and because of the way it does it, it's like saving a huge file at this point, and it probably just screwed us over. But I'm gonna go ahead and get off for now. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully, I'll catch you in the next one. At least we made a little bit of progress, but man, that is devastating. Let's go ahead and save it as a ping, I guess. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense not to, you know? Like Our lines were getting wobbly anyway. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.